A woman storms into her friend's house, looking like she just lost a bet with a thunderstorm. What's wrong? Her friend asks. I tried to get my husband insured, she groans. But the policy says no payouts for accidents involving fireworks or pyrotechnic mishaps. Friend raises an eyebrow. Why is that a problem? The woman sighs, because the backyard barbecue is already lit, and he's juggling the sparklers. It's a rookie's first day in a quirky book club. At their meeting, someone shouts, 72, and the room bursts into laughter. Another yells, 19, and the giggles erupt again. Confused, the newbie nudges a veteran. What's the deal? The veteran grins. We've got one comedy book in the club library. We've read it so much, we just yell the page number, and everyone recalls the joke. Eager to fit in, the rookie stands and shouts, 44. Silence. He tries again, 44. Still nothing. Mortified, he whispers to the veteran, White eye bomb. The veteran shrugs. Some folks can sell a punchline, and some just read the page. In a remote mountain lodge, the only way up is a creaky old elevator pulled by a team of oxen. A nervous tourist halfway up notices the ropes are fraying like a bad haircut. Sweating, he asks the operator, How often do you replace these ropes? The operator scratches his beard and says, Right after they snap, pal. A guy's muttering to himself, I wish I could meet some big shots before I kick the bucket. A stranger overhears and says, I'm Dave, and I know every VIP on earth. Skeptical, the guy says, Prove it. Let's meet the mayor. They stroll to City Hall, and the mayor high-fives Dave like they're old poker buddies. Lucky coincidence, the guy grumbles. Let's try the governor. Off they go, and the governor greets Dave like they shared a dorm in college, still unconvinced. The guy demands, Fine, let's meet the Dalai Lama. They jet to Tibet, and after a meditation session, the Dalai Lama gives Dave a fist bump. As Dave returns, the guy's stunned when a monk whispers, Who's that chatting with Dave? A hotshot in a shiny new convertible pulls up next to a grandpa on a rickety scooter at a stoplight. Grandpa eyes the car and says, Fancy ride, kid. Bet it's quick. The driver brags 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Light turns green and the driver floors it, hitting 100 miles per hour. Suddenly, a blur zooms past Grandpa on his scooter. Then, Grandpa rockets by again, going the other way. The driver slams the brakes as Grandpa crashes into the bumper. Shocked, the driver runs back. Gramps, how's that scooter so fast? You okay? Grandpa wheezes. Unhook my scarf from your tailpipe. Sonny, a slacker's fishing by the river, yawning louder than a foghorn. An old fisherman pokes. Him. Kid, why so tired? Go nap. The slacker mumbles, gotta catch dinner, but the fish aren't biting. Wish they'd just hop into my bucket. The old man chuckles, not happening. But here's a tip, marry someone, have a kid, and make them fish for you. The slacker perks up, yawning, smart. Know any families looking to adopt a lazy angler? A farmer's hauling a cart of turnips when he spots an old angler by the river. Is the water shallow enough for my mule to cross? He shouts. The angler nods, yup. A gaggle of geese waddled through an hour ago. The farmer drives his mule in, but the water's deep, and the cart starts sinking. Soaked and furious, he yells, You said it was shallow. The angler scratches his head weird. Those geese were shorter than your mule. At a burger joint, the fry cook's a legend, knowing exactly when fries are golden just by squinting at them. Customers line up for his crispy perfection. But today, he spots a shiny new toy-talking robot burger flipper. He presses its button, flip it, fry it. He presses again. Burger bonanza. Mesmerized, he hits it 20 more times, chuckling at each quip. Suddenly, his boss taps his shoulder, holding a basket of charred fries. You're a pro, but even you need a timer. What's the lesson here? The cook sighs, time fries when you're playing with toys. Two seniors are chilling on a park bench, sipping lemonade. One asks, How's your weekend, Frank? Frank grins, epic. I was strolling by the train tracks when I saw a gal tied up like in an old western. Rescued her, took her home, and we danced under the moonlight 12 twirls, I counted. His buddy gasps, Best night ever. Frank nods, Yup, except I couldn't find her hat. 3 squirrels in a forest are arguing over who's the fastest climber. The youngest bolts up a pine tree and back in 10 seconds, boasting, "Beat that." The second scampers up an oak in 8 seconds, smirking, "Top that." The oldest squirrel, without a word, rockets up a maple in 5 seconds flat. The others squeak, "How'd you do that?" He shrugs, "Missed the branch I was aiming for." A kingdom conquers its rival, only to find the treasury empty. The captured duke knows where the gold's stashed, but won't spill. They drag him to the guillotine, shouting, "Last chance, where's the loot?" The duke stays silent, sweat dripping. As the blade falls, he yells, "Wait, I'll tell." But it's too late. The moral, don't chop your duke before he squeaks. My new pup's a morning tornado, so my wife and I take turns handling her. Today, I stumbled downstairs, half asleep, to find my wife glaring. "You're slowing me down," she snaps. Groggy, I mumble, "Didn't know you'd teleport from the attic." She laughed all day, but only admitted it at dinner. A retired bank teller visits a therapist. For 25 years, I loved my job counting cash, helping folks. Now, every time I pass a bank, I need to withdraw money. My house is stuffed with bills. The therapist nods. Sounds like you're cashing out on withdrawal issues. A 60-year-old woman swaps a book club for swim lessons. Her friends ask, "Why the switch?" She sighs. My son's wife keeps asking him, "If your mom and I fall in the pool, who'd you save?" I'm learning to swim so he doesn't have to choose. A week later, the wife asks again, "Who'd you save?" The son grins. "Mom's got this, she'd probably save you." The wife pushes, "But if you had to jump in," he laughs, "you'd sink." Mom's already doing laps in math class. The teacher tests Timmy. "If I give you 15 apples and you give me back 3, how many do you have?" Timmy smirks, 50. The teacher fumes. "How's that possible?" Timmy shrugs. "You imagined the apples, so I imagined a whole orchard." Fair's fair. 2 shrimp, Carl and Cody, swim in shark-infested waters. Carl groans, "I'm tired of being lunch bait. Wish I was a shark." A glowing jellyfish appears, saying, "Wish granted." Poof, Carl's a shark. Cody bolts, terrified. Weeks later, Carl's lonely, nobody swims near him. He finds the jellyfish and begs, "Turn me back." Poof, he's a shrimp again. He races to Cody's cave, shouting, "It's me, Carl. I'm back." Cody snaps, "No way, you're a shark." Carl pleads, "I found my jelly, now I'm a shrimp again." Cody, Sam, challenges Pat to a lake crossing race. Pat groans, "You're a swim champ." Sam offers, "I'll swim, you take the kayak." Deal, they start. But halfway across, Sam notices the water's knee-deep. He stands, strolling with his head above water, while Pat paddles beside him. A park ranger zooms up, shouting, "No racing like that, one kayaking, one wading." Sam asks, "Why not?" The ranger quips, "Paddle versus waddles against the rules." In a quirky hospital, to patients, Max and Leo wander by a fountain. Max dives in, sinks, and stays put. Leo jumps in, hauls him out, and saves the day. The doctor, impressed, says, "Leo, you're sane enough to leave. You saved Max." Then he frowns, "Bad news, Max climbed a tree and fell." Leo grins, "No worries, I tied him up there to air out." Two sailors wash up on a deserted island after their boat sinks. The younger one salvages a radio and sends an SOS. A ship replies, "We'll be there in 10 days. The older sailor grumbles, "I'd rather swim to the wreck and fix it." The younger one scoffs, "You'd rather tinker with that old boat than wait a week." The older sailor shrugs, beats a decade in paradise. A guy on a work trip calls home. His daughter answers, "Hi, Daddy." He asks, "Is Mommy there?" She replies, "She's upstairs with Uncle Bob." He pauses, "We don't have an Uncle Bob." The girl insists, "Yup, he's with her now." He says, "Okay, tell Mommy I'm pulling into the driveway." Minutes later, she returns. Mommy ran out screaming, tripped on the cat, and she's out cold. Uncle Bob jumped out the window into the kiddie pool, but it's empty, so he's not moving, stunned. The guy asks, "Kiddie pool? Is this 5551-34? At breakfast, young Ben's deep in thought. His mom asks, "What's up?" Ben mumbles, "Mom, how many legs does a heart have?" She laughs, "None." Sweetie! Why, Ben blushes. Last night I heard Dad say, "Darling, spread your heart's legs." A housekeeper hands a boss a fancy scarf, saying, "Can you take this back?" The boss, puzzled, asks, "Why?" "It's stunning." The housekeeper grins. "It's gorgeous, but when I wear it." The gardener thinks I'm you and ignores me. Worse, the chef keeps sneaking up for a cuddle, thinking I'm you too. A cruise ship with 200 eccentric passengers hits a snag when its motor fails mid-ocean. The crew panics, but the passengers decide to help. One yells, "Let's all blow on the sails." The captain sighs. This is why we don't let poets navigate. At an overcrowded art school, the dean tests students for release by drawing a gate on a whiteboard, saying, "Open it to leave." Students rush, clawing and sketching over the gate. The dean sighs until he spots one student chilling by the wall. "Why aren't you trying?" he asks. The student winks. "I've got the only eraser." A woman in a swimsuit lounges on the beach, noticing an old guy staring. Annoyed, she moves, but he follows, still staring. Fed up, she reports him in court. The judge asks, "Why were you staring?" The old guy shrugs, "Just admiring the seashells she wasn't covering, Your Honor." An American hiker and his Polish pal go berry picking in the woods. Suddenly, two wolves, a big one and a small one, charge at them. The hiker scrambles up a tree, but his pal gets nabbed by the big wolf. The hiker races to town, grabs a ranger and points at the wolves, yelling, "He's in the big one." The ranger aims, shoots the small wolf and says, "Trust me, I know a polita when I see one." A guy joins a monastery where monks can only say two words every 5 years. After 5 years, he tells the head monk, "Bed hard." 5 more years pass and he says, "Food bland." Another 5 years, he says, "I'm leaving." The head monk nods, "Good. You've been whining too much."